Most leaders do not have a people problem. Most leaders don't even have a strategy problem. What they have is a clarity problem, and it's quietly killing their growth. Today, on this edition of the On Mission podcast, I'm going to show you why your business and your life feels harder than it should, and how the real issue isn't effort, but it's actually just the lack of clarity. You know, I've seen this working and talking to a lot of different founders, business owners, leadership teams, and companies who are trying to scale, and it's the same patterns every time. So if you're thinking that, well, that's not me, or perhaps we need to have better execution, stay with me, because this is actually where it shows up. Because right now, if you do not fix this issue and you don't just slow down, you actually will stall out, you'll burn out, and have a team that is overwhelmed. Because more effort is not going to fix it. More strategy, more meetings, more tools definitely will not fix it. It will only compound it. And the longer it sits, the harder it gets to untangle it. So I want to walk you through what's actually happening inside your life and your business, and why everything feels harder than it should. Let's dive in. The first thing is that it starts with you. If you as the leader do not have clarity, it will have a ripple effect in your life and in your business to those around you. Because you can have the vision, you can have ideas, and you know where you want to go and where you want to take things. But when it comes to what actually matters right now, it's fuzzy. It's like looking out the window when the child has put handprints all over it. You can see out a little bit, but things are blurry, things are fuzzy. And when you are looking through a lens like that, or looking out a window like that, for instance, then you are going to miss things that are there and perhaps even see things that aren't. And when you as the leader, when you are not crystal clear, everything downstream will get blurry. It's like calling the play in the huddle, but you change the play just slightly every time. What does that breed? It breeds confusion and lack of execution, because the team isn't failing because they're bad. They're fail because they've just continually hear a different version of everything. So if you want momentum in your life and in your business, you need clarity at the top first, which starts with you as the leader. And once that lack of clarity, starts at the top, like with yourself, it just doesn't stay there. It has a ripple effect to those around you. It spreads to your team. Now, a lack of clarity is going to create not just chaos, it's team misalignment. When you, the leader, are personally confused, then it leads to this idea and spreads to your team that they are misaligned and they don't know what is actually important. Everyone may be working and everyone is busy and doing all these different things, but they're not aligned toward a common goal. Because unclear priorities, if you as a leader have unclear priorities, what that creates is competing priorities. If you're leaving it up to your team to interpret and come up with what they believe is important, then you are going to be frustrated as a leader because they're not executing the way that you should or you want them to. And it's simply because you're not clear yourself and you haven't shared, and once you are clear, you haven't shared those priorities with them. It's like a team of say 5 people. Let's put them in a rowboat. They all have the oar there, but they're all paddling and trying to move the boat in different directions. They're all busy. They're all trying to get somewhere, but Each one is just rowing at a different rhythm or trying to go to a different place. And that's what happens when you, the leader, aren't clear. It spreads to your team, and your team will operate that way as well. Everybody's moving, but they're just not moving efficiently. Here's the lesson from all of this is that alignment doesn't come from effort. It comes from shared clarity. It comes from that understanding that we are all in this together. Here's the objective, here's the priorities, and here's how we're going to execute it together. And when your team, if it isn't aligned, you're going to feel it next. Because yes, when you as a leader are personally confused, it has a ripple effect upon those around you, whether it's relationships or your team in your business. But what happens is that ripple actually comes back to you. You then become the glue that has to hold everything together. You are the translator for all the different issues that are arising, or you are holding the fire extinguisher trying to put all the fires out that show up every day. And it leads to a overload and an overwhelmed individual. In essence, you are the bottleneck. Now, understanding that can be a little disheartening, but it also can be very freeing because then you know what is missing. When clarity is missing, everything's going to flow back to you. So when your day-to-day operations is your team or those that are reporting to you consistently coming to you and asking you for input all the time, it may be because you lack clarity and it hasn't been shared with them. Because when you are aligned, then things can truly move forward and have more freedom. But if every question and if every decision and if every problem comes back to you, you didn't build a business, you actually built dependency. Now, as a caveat here, there are some leaders out there that enjoy that. But I call that just operating in a very much of a chaotic environment. Things cannot grow, things cannot scale if you just want to always be making the decisions and having to have the solution to every problem. Because that is not building a business, it's building dependency. If everything depends upon you, clarity is missing in the system. Because clarity is the key that unlocks the freedom for you as the leader to be able to focus on things that you should be focusing on because your team is already aligned and they are empowered to make the decisions to keep their portion of the business moving forward as well. And that's where most leaders misdiagnose the problem, though. So, what do most people do? What do most leaders do? Is they always want to add more things. They want to add more tools. Hey, I've got a new tool that you need to do or need to learn here. Or let's have more meetings. And let's just face it, meetings stink. They suck, right? Because when you're always in meetings, then work is not being accomplished. And usually meetings are just happening is because somebody can't make a decision somewhere. So let's have a meeting about it so that we can try to make a decision. It's like when that decision could have been made outside of a meeting. But they want to add more meetings, or let's go hire more people. Let's take on more overhead. That's typically what can happen, but those are really false solutions because it's just adding complexity to the confusion. And that doesn't bring clarity. What it does is actually multiplies the confusion. It's like putting a faster engine in a car, but yet you have no steering wheel. Like you can go fast, you can go, man, you can peel the tires and take off, but yet you have no control over where you're headed because you have no steering wheel. And that's kind of what that can be like. Is you can move faster, but just not in the right direction. So, what's the lesson for us here? Clarity is not a layer that you add. It's the foundation which everything sits on. When you, the leader, get clear, when you are clear on your priorities and your identity and where you want to get out of life and out of your business, then everyone around you gets better and gets clearer as well. When clarity is present, everything sharpens. You ever write with a dull pencil? It's one of the most frustrating things. Or you're wanting to make a very thin line with a pencil, but yet it's not sharpened. But when clarity comes into the picture and you sharpen that pencil, and you get it. And that's what clarity does. It gives you that edge. It just sharpens everything. Decisions get faster, execution gets cleaner, and that team that always came to you with their problems and always wanting you to put out the fire, always wanting you to make the decision, they actually move without that requiring that constant input. They're able to execute on their own. It's like everyone's finally reading from the same playbook and at the same time. Here's what I've learned when it comes to clarity is that clarity it removes a certain level of friction. And I'm talking about that friction, like of negative friction that can happen amongst teams. And when you have clarity, everyone experiences more joy, more fulfillment in their life, in their business, and all around. So if you ever felt like, man, we're working hard, but not moving like we should, this is the problem. It's not effort, it's not talent, it's not strategy, it's clarity. That's why you have me. I'm the clarity guy, right? And once you fix that, everything else just starts working. So here's the deal. If you want help getting clear on your identity, your priorities, and execution in your life and your business, that's exactly what I help businesses and leaders do. In fact, you can go on Instagram or LinkedIn or social media, you can message me there. But what I simply do is over 90 days is help leaders who are overwhelmed and stuck in their meetings and just dealing with chaos every day to get clear, to have clarity on their identity, their priorities, and the execution so that their teams can move faster and scale without that chaos. All within 90 days. I call it the 90-day clarity sprint. If you'd like more information on that, you can just message me on social media on Instagram or LinkedIn, and I'll give you all of the details. If you'd like just to do a simple clarity checkup, I have a thing called the Clarity Scorecard as well, and I'll put the link below. And it's just an interactive thing that you can answer just a few questions and kind of gives you a perspective. And it's completely free. I'll have that link listed below. Because remember this, when the leader gets clear, so does everyone else. Thank you for joining me today on the On Mission podcast. Go live a life of clarity and on mission. See you next time.